What's happening? Happy Wednesday to you. It is Wednesday, June 29th, 2022. It is good to be back with you guys. It's good to be in front of this camera. It's good to be back in the office. Had an amazing weekend. We're going to talk a little bit about that weekend this morning. We're going to talk about who is actually in your corner because, some things were I was reminded of some things this weekend, spending time with a lot of the most important people in my life. And, I got to thinking about just how important it is to, have the right people in your corner. Who is it that's in your corner and how can those people make a massive, massive difference in your life? That's what we're going to talk about this morning. Let's get started.
It is ultimately important for you to look at your goals, truly what you want to do in your life, and then look at the people who you spend the most time with in your life and figure out if that lines up.
All right, guys, what's happening? And happy Wednesday. It is good to be back, man. I was looking in the system this morning and I said, holy smokes, man. It's been 8 days since I've been on here, since early last week. So was down in downtown Pittsburgh, staying in a hotel makes doing this pretty difficult. And I always want to be present with my people. And so, but I'm ecstatic to be back and ecstatic to be talking about this topic this morning. So, who's actually in your corner? Who do you have in your life? And what is it that they bring to it, right? As I spent time with a lot of the most important people in my life this weekend, I couldn't help but think about having those people in my corner and how much it has changed my life, how much it has changed the way that I show up, how much it has changed the way that we do business, how much it has changed everything about how I exist in this world. And so for those of you who are in that circle, and most of you watching this show, all of you watching this show are, thank you first and foremost for the support, for the love, for the care, for the critiques at times, for the feedback, for just being there, because, the power of community is real. The power of having the right people in your corner is extremely real. And, when you sit in a room full of people and you feel that energy and you feel that support, you feel the love that's being exchanged, and you watch the hugs and you watch the things that transpire in a room full of people like that, it's really powerful. And it reminded me of how important it is for us to make sure that we've got the right people in our corner. Because as I went through that weekend and, the weekend was over and we went out to dinner, Sunday night, and I was looking around the table and I was just sitting there quiet for a little bit, just kind of observing what was happening. And it just reminded me how much it means to have the support of people, to have people pushing a mission in a singular direction. And it boils down to this, because, not all of you are in that situation of having an organization or having, a group of, of people that are together. But it reminded me of one thing: who is in your corner and how that expands and how that community grows. What I was reminded of as I was sitting there silent at dinner Sunday night was how every individual person came into my life. I was sitting there watching, there were people at that table that I had just met that weekend, and there were people that I've known for years and years, right? Including my wife. And I was literally sitting there looking around the table and thinking about how all of those people came into my life. But the thing that really went off in my mind when I was thinking about that was one person at a time, right? One person at a time. They came into my life in a different way. And one person at a time, those relationships were developed. One conversation at a time, we can make those relationships better. We can get more people in our corner. We can build a community of people that are committed to changing an industry or changing the world. And I ask you to think about this, every relationship that you have, and this was, I was at the gym this morning talking about this. Every relationship that you have is incredibly important. And I think that sometimes we can get caught up in, being so busy or being, having so much going on, or, in some cases, just losing track of, the awareness that it takes to really take every relationship that you have in your life to the next level. And so I ask you to think about that this morning. Who is in your corner? Who would you like to have in your corner? And who is maybe in your life? They're kind of right there, right? They're right within reach for you to have in your corner at a different level, but you maybe haven't made the decisions or made the moves in order to do that, right? And this happened to me a couple of times throughout last week, and I literally ended this weekend like on such a high, just so encouraged about some of the relationships that I've had for a long time that have been incredible, but I know in my heart that they're going to go to a new level. I know in my mind that there's so many things that when we go together, we can do that help change the world. And boil that all the way down to what it's like in your own life. One of the things that I've always said is that when you are surrounded by the right people and you have the right team around you, you have the right family around you, you have the right people around you, you truly and genuinely feel unstoppable. And I just got chills when I said that, because I felt that so many times throughout this weekend, right? Like I looked around me and I sent Keith Calloway Jr. this text message so many times from last Tuesday or Wednesday through the end of the weekend. I said, man, we are surrounded by such incredible people. And I want you to think about that, because my wish for you is for you to think about that multiple times a day in your own life, right? And if that's not the case right now, what I want to share with you this morning is that wasn't always the case for me. It's not that I was, surrounded by bad people, or I didn't have that feeling. I didn't have that like, man, I am so grateful, so lucky to be surrounded by so many people that are so incredible. But there was a point in my life where that wasn't the case. So if that's you and you're watching this or you're listening to this on the podcast, I want to give you encouragement, but I also want to give you reality. Is that it's you that has the ability to attract those people. It's you that has the ability to deepen those relationships, to be honest, to be vulnerable, which that word I don't even like because it's used as marketing these days, but to be open, to have conversations, in some cases to argue, because those arguments you lead to incredible growth. But it's your responsibility to bring these people into your life. It's your responsibility to develop the relationships. The good news is, like this, it can change. Because one of my favorite things about life is that I really, truly believe that you're never more than one person away from having a completely different life. You're never more than one person away from having a completely different life. Whether that one person establishes connections that change your life, whether that one person has an idea in business or a tool in business or a connection in business. Maybe they have advice that they've been through something in their family that can help you. It's relationships, guys. that make this world go round. And I was reminded repeatedly this weekend of just how many incredibly special relationships I have in my life. And so to those of you who were here, thank you. To those of you who show up here every morning, thank you. You make my life incredible. And for you guys, when you think about who is in your corner and how you can change your life one person at a time, one relationship at a time, one deeper relationship with somebody that you already have a relationship at a time. That's what I want you to do this week. That's what I want you to think about this week. I want you to think about how can you take your time and use it better to get to know those people that are right around you in your life. They're right there. I'm having lunch and I get to meet a new person who's, in the community here in Pittsburgh. And, I've been looking forward to meeting this guy for a long time. Who knows what happens with that relationship, right? But I can tell you this, I'm at a point in my life where I value those opportunities so much, right? To meet people and to figure out, is there something that I can add value to this person? And is there a mutual benefit to our relationship, to us having a friendship, a relationship, a business relationship, whatever it is. But the message this morning is simple, guys. Figure out who's in your corner, figure out who you want in your corner, and then figure out what it takes step by step, providing people value, being open, being honest, and building better relationships in your life. Because I can tell you this, from a person that is blessed to be surrounded by some of the most amazing people, man, the feeling I have when I wake up every day is different than it used to be. And it's all a result of who's in my corner, who's in my family. Family is not just blood. My mom and dad were there. My kids were there. My wife was there. My family was there. But my family was there. And I want you guys to have that same feeling. And I believe in my heart that all it takes is effort. All it takes is being open, finding those people that you can have open conversations with, and pouring into it as much as you can. Because the people that end up in your corner, to everybody that's in my corner, our corner, every ounce of sacrifice, every ounce of work, every late night, every early morning, everything that I've ever had to work hard at would be worth it if just one of those people were in my life. And I'm fortunate to have dozens. And I'll never, ever, ever take it for granted. And you shouldn't either if you have those people in your life. So ask yourself that question. Who's in your corner? Who do you want in your corner? And how do you get them there? And I saw Bruce put a comment in there. How do I get in your corner? Brother, you're already there. We just got to have a conversation. But you keep trying. Bruce is a good example. He sent me messages, and I've been busy, so I haven't had a chance to connect with him. But that's a great example of how you do things. You keep showing up, man. You keep showing up. You keep sending messages. You keep, just reconnecting over and over and over again until you establish the relationships that you want. And I promise you this, those relationships that take the longest are always, almost always, the most valuable. Because you value them. You had to work to establish them. The relationships that you go through some challenges are always the most precious. They become more precious when you go through challenge and adversity. Think about that. So who is in your corner? How do you get different people in your corner? We'll talk about tactical ways to build relationships over the coming days here so that you guys understand, how you can do it, how I've done it. One of the speakers that we had this weekend, Mitzi Purdue, is someone that I've been able to establish a relationship with. And I'll tell you how I did it. I'll tell you how it started. Mitzi's an incredible person. William James was another speaker that we had this weekend, a friend of mine from high school. But I maintained a relationship with this guy since 1997. And how do you do that, right? And then how, as you become adults, how does that relationship get deeper and better and, more full to the point that you end up doing life and business together, right? And it's special. It's special. And I want you to feel the same thing that I feel. Hopefully you all do. If you don't, we're going to teach you here the next couple of days exactly how to make that happen. So I hope you guys have an amazing Wednesday. It is so great to be back with you guys. I want to say good morning to some folks on the way out. Ryan Austin, what's happening, brother? Judd, good morning to you, brother. David Martin, Monica, so good to see you on here. Rick, Bob Bernard, and Cynthia, what's happening? Christina, Rick, Bruce, my wife is on here. I love you, babe. Mr. Calloway, what's happening, man? Randy, good morning to you. John Rugg, good morning. Tony Grout, Scott Rhodes, Marvin, my brother. Tammy Clark, my girl, always here on the West Coast, bright and early. Mrs. Calloway is on here. Lillian, good morning to you. Daniel Good, Austin Duchesne, Trisha, Steve Flaherty, Bruce, my brother, thanks for being here, man, and thanks for having patience with me. And John Stanton, good morning to you guys, and thank you for being here. Until tomorrow morning, same place, same time. Just want to leave you with one message. I love you guys. I really do. I appreciate you more than you will ever, ever, ever know. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you tomorrow morning, same place, same time, right here on Morning Perspective. I love you guys.
It is ultimately important for you to look at your goals, truly what you want to do in your life, and then look at the people who you spend the most time with in your life and figure out if that lines up.